AI. I've heard of it. You've heard of it. It's a big word getting thrown around all over the place today, whether people like it, hate it. It's part of our daily life now. It's being used everywhere, and it's actually being incorporated into a lot of job and career environments. But in particular, the one I'll be talking about today is AI and policing. Uh, just some of the framework of the video I'm going to be talking about, where it's mainly being used, some cool things that are being used in the future of policing, some things that are actually being experimented now, and then just some of the pros and cons with AI in policing. But let's just jump right into it. What is AI being used for right now? The big thing is being used for in law enforcement is report writing. Yep. Patrol officers spend around 40% of their time writing reports, which is a lot of time they're not on the streets actually patrolling and taking care of crime. So, a big thing police departments are using is AI, specifically one called Draft One, to take the Axon body-worn camera footage and transpose it into a narrative form from the audio content and recorded footage. So, the AI combs through the footage, taking key moments in it visually, writing that down, and also taking key audio or dialogue from the police officer at those key points as well, and putting it into a coherent report. This saves a ton of time for the police officers to not have to sit in their cruisers and write tons of reports on past investigations, past crimes, when they can just be out on the streets doing their job instead of just sitting around writing paperwork all day. So AI is definitely that's the biggest thing law enforcement agencies are using AI for right now is report writing. They're trying to implement that, making it 100%, so it saves a lot of officers time. So that time can be used well spent on the streets, getting engaged with the community, and actually stopping crime instead of just writing reports. But there are some cool experimental uses for AI that police agencies are looking into, and I'll touch on just a couple of them here. There's a ton of them, but I just want to touch on two cool ones that I found. Um, Anomaly detection or just detection AI, and specifically gun detection systems. So they would use a network of outdoor acoustic sensors to detect and locate gunfire. Once it did detect the gunfire, the AI would actually alert police agencies, and this would reduce response time and helping finding shooters quicker, also helping getting to victims quicker, or finding evidence of gun shell casings and gun sound and flash to confirm that the gunshots were actually shot at that location. So there's a lot of cool things that can be used to help solve crimes based on just gunshot detection by AI. It can take all that data just from a sensor and give us a complete and coherent report of what happened, what gun was used, where the shells may be, where some victims may be, and where the shooter can be. Uh, really just helping police officers get to shooters quicker and take care of the threat sooner. A lot less victims this way, if any victims at all. So definitely a cool experimentation of AI that is being used in law enforcement agencies. The second one I wanted to touch on was predictive AI. This was kind of already used in police departments. This is probably the second biggest one other than report writing, which is why I wanted to touch on it. Departments would be using predictive policing systems using AI, which was use historical crime data to identify areas prone to crime and what times most crime occurs, as well as what geographical location crime happens in the most. It would also use AI to predictive person-based systems, so to seek individuals who are more at risk of committing crimes or being the victim of such a crime, also based on data from the police departments. So, with that, some of the pros with AI. AI is big, it's fast, it's efficient, it's only getting better, it's only getting smarter. This helps police actually spend more times on the street instead of writing reports. It can also help police predict more crime, find more people, track more people. It just makes the job a lot easier in terms of data record keeping and report writing, letting police officers actually focus about being on patrol, being preemptive against crime, and not having to worry so much about the data that can be done by a computer as it can be done more efficiently by AI. But with every pro, there's cons. Some of the biggest cons comes with the predictive policing AI. A lot of the predictive policing models use historical data, and with that historical data comes a lot of bias and discrimination. Um, AI models inherit biased historical crime data, leading to discriminatory police practices. There's also a lack of transparency. A lot of this AI stuff is being used just in law enforcement agencies. It's not being shared with the public. Uh, so nobody really knows how it works. The public doesn't know how it works, how they're getting this data, where they're getting it from, what kind of data they're plugging in. So it just leads to more bias and discrimination, bias and discriminatory police practices, which turns the public trust against police officers. And there's already been a massive over policing of marginalized communities and minorities by law enforcement. So using AI to use these biased or discriminatory data from historical data sets just erodes trust in law enforcement even further. And solving crime is not a one-way street. Law enforcement does need the public to help in fighting crime. The police can't do it all by themselves. They do need the help of the public. So just making sure that the technology is 100% and that the data is also accurate. Um, this way it can refrain from using bias or discriminatory data, leading to the arrests of more minority groups is really important. Implementing things such as rigorous oversight and mandating transparency and accountability really help with this, allowing the law enforcement agencies to have to tell the public what is actually going on, what kind of data they're using, can really just help in police trust and community relationships. As I said earlier, it's not a one-way street when it comes to fighting crime. Law enforcement agencies can't do it on their own. They do need the help of the public. But with all that being said, AI is a big tool that is being used everywhere now. Police agencies are experimenting with all types of AI. Just a couple that I didn't even mention. Recognizing emotions in AI, identifying associations in AI, evidence management, tracking AI, ear biometrics, gait recognition, face recognition, iris recognition, all sorts of things AI is being used for nowadays in police departments. And it's all being experimented on. And it can all be used to help solve crime and keep the community even safer. Definitely, it needs to be experimented to its fullest. No technology is perfect. There is going to be backlash with any kind of technology. It's all a matter of trial and error, but when there is an error, the error should not be at the risk of somebody's life being ruined. The technology does need to be studied and analyzed to the best of its ability to prevent somebody's life being completely ruined by just some kind of computer mistake, as that only harms the intended purpose of what the AI is for, and the AI is to get rid of crime and keep the community safe. But with that note, that is all I have for today, and I will see y'all in the next one.